And a new doping scandal has erupted involving Olympic swimmers from China.
And it's beyond question that China didn't follow the rule.
A Chinese swimmer has been accused of cheating after winning gold.
David Popovich, Jack Alexei, you don't beat those guys by one full body length in 100 freestyle. That's not humanly possible.
为什么中国运动员有这么快的时候要被质疑？那在此之前，伟大的运动员菲尔普斯他拿到7块奖牌、7块金牌、8块金牌的时候，那为什么没有人敢去质疑他
？Now that the Paris Olympics are over, the myth of doping allegations continues to cast a shadow. Over the past weeks, we have seen the biggest witch hunt targeting Chinese athletes, as the smear campaign to label them as dopers began well before the Games and worsened, especially when some Western countries lost events they usually dominate to China. The US Anti-Doping Agency, or USADA, claimed in May that China's cheating could wreck the Paris Olympics. It was baseless allegations like these that led to the unfair fact that Chinese athletes were tested way more often than those from other countries. Some might find it disappointing as the results all came out clean. Since the beginning of this year, Chinese swimmers have been tested an average of 21 times, American swimmers an average of 6 times, and British and Australian swimmers 4 times.
To me, obviously, it's unfortunate that we've seen the number of tests that the Chinese swimmers have been exposed to, just to make sure and provide peace of mind to the rest of the world, the rest of the athletes, especially the US, ADA, to see that there's nothing, there is absolutely nothing.
It's more ironic when you consider the fact that the US and the USADA could be one of the least credible sources in terms of clean sport and fair games. Bear in mind, this is a country where 90% of athletes are not subject to the regulations of the World Anti-Doping Agency. And the country has a reputation for covering up its doping scandals. At the 1996 Olympic trials, American runner Mary Slaney tested positive for steroids, but the US authorities believed the claim that the result was due to birth control pills. Similarly, in 1998, Dennis Mitchell's positive drug test was attributed to excessive sex and beer. And most recently, American sprinter Arian Knighton competed in Paris despite failing his drug test in March. USADA cleared his name by saying the results were caused by contaminated meat. Another compelling argument to question the impartiality of USADA lies with the prevalence of TUEs, therapeutic use exemptions. This mechanism allows athletes with medical conditions to legally take prohibited medications. As of recent years, America has submitted the highest number of TUE applications globally. In 2016, for instance, 41% of TUEs granted by the USADA were for ADHD medications, such as stimulants like Adderall and Ritalin, which could potentially enhance performance. The most notable case was Simone Biles, an American gymnast who won 11 Olympic medals. She was allowed to take prohibited stimulants due to her ADHD. I'm not saying athletes with medical conditions are not encouraged to compete in the Games, but the high number of TUEs from the United States certainly raises eyebrows and demands more scrutiny. The leniency towards its own doping problems is only one of America's sins in the realm of sports. Its use of extraterritorial jurisdiction is another example of how the country weaponizes sports. The Rodchenkov Act legislation passed in 2020 extends US law enforcement jurisdiction to any international sporting competitions that involve American athletes or have financial connections to the US. Before the Paris Games, the FBI launched a criminal investigation into 23 Chinese swimmers who were suspected of using a banned drug in 2021. Despite being proven innocent, the names of the 23 swimmers were made public by the US, regardless of WADA regulations. A move that potentially affected the reputation and matches. By placing US legal standards above global anti-doping efforts, such actions are causing unease for global athletes.
Initial ability for US authorities to detain people, potentially also, from my understanding, outside of US soil. So this jeopardizes the safety of officials and people in the Olympic movement and the sports movement.
Instead of providing transparency and assurances to the rest of the world, the US authorities are clearly more invested in politicizing sports and turning the arena into another weapon to attack China.